Now, amongst the advice currently in the buyer's journey is a section on how to ensure that contracts are structured in a way which allows SMEs to compete. Now, by definition, there are some very large contracts which realistically can only be successfully delivered by large firms or by consortia. But those contracts are very much the exception. And as far as we can, where we're letting big national contracts, we split those into lots. We split them into lots to allow smaller or geographically restricted suppliers a fair chance to compete. And the recent procurement of the professional services framework contracts is a good example of this. These contracts are securing savings of up to 46% across the Scottish public sector. But equally important, 15 consortia and 15 SMEs, 14 of which are Scottish-based SMEs, were named as suppliers on the frameworks. And a further 33 SMEs were named as consortia members or subcontractors. Now that's a big success, and just as I will regularly get correspondence or meetings with business people from across Scotland who are concerned that the playing field is tipped against them, after this framework was let, I had some of the biggest companies in the business coming along and saying, hang on, you know, we've been robbed, we should have got these contracts. Sorry, you were undercut. Small business sector got in there, got its act together, came in and took advantage of that opportunity to get the business. And that was possible because buyers took time to understand the marketplace, to divide the contracts into lots to allow firms that were restricted to a particular area or a particular specialism, allowed to allow those firms to compete for the work appropriate to their capacity and appropriate to their capability. And that's vitally important that we continue to do this whenever we can, something that everyone in the procurement reform programme is committed to. Because a procurement exercise, letting a contract, only creates the potential to deliver value. The actual value is delivered through that commercial relationship, the management of the contract, and the ability to work together to deliver in the interests of business and the interests of the taxpayer. Now, I said I'd touch on European issues, and when we responded to the European Commission's recent Green Paper on the reform of procurement legislation, we made 3 key points. Firstly, we want contracting authorities to be allowed to maximise the local economic impact of their procurement spending by taking into account, for example, the impact of the contract on local employment. Secondly, we want to see changes that would allow the particular challenges of rural communities to be taken into consideration in procurement exercises. And thirdly, we said again quite explicitly that we want to see more promotion of the involvement of SMEs in public sector contracts. Now, my hope is that the UK government will take these points up in its direct negotiations on the issue. But in the meantime, we will continue to do our bit, encouraging the public sector to set up contracts in a way that allows SMEs to compete and providing such help as we can within the law. Now, if you want to see the letter that set out in more detail those calls to the European Commission, take a look at our website. It's there. And the website is also full of helpful information, from guides on what to expect in dealing with the public sector through to information on all the contracts and frameworks that we've set up. It's a great source of advice for buyers and for suppliers. And the last metrics I had indicate that the procurement website gets about 30% of the overall hits on the Scottish Government website. So in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I want to return to my opening statements. Yes, it's true that public spending is being cut. Yes, it's true that the public sector needs to get more bang for its buck. It's a tough marketplace out there, and you have to be competitive to win public work. You have to be able to demonstrate that you can provide the best value for money, and frankly, sometimes the best value for the taxpayer is by giving work to large companies. But believe me when I say that that is not just a code for aggregating work into a few large contracts for the big boys. Quite on the contrary, the flexibility, the dynamism, the creativity of Scotland's SMEs are key to helping this country through the current economic challenges that we face. Public procurement, for me, isn't just about spending money, it's also about growing the economy and helping businesses, helping small businesses to develop their competitiveness, their competitive edge, and grow to be the kind of players we want to see in today's Scotland. And as the manifestos of every party in the election show, the interests of SMEs will continue to be central to public procurement reform as we move into the new administration. Contrary to what I said at the beginning of this talk, now is precisely the time to be doing business with the public sector. Thank you very much.